The champagne flute slips from my fingers again, shattering against the marble floor of the empty cathedral, and I realize with crystalline clarity that my family has chosen my sister's art gallery opening over my wedding. Again. The sound echoes, sharp and brittle, mocking the silence where vows should be. My breath catches, a painful hitch in my chest. It's not just the sound, it's the memory it unleashes. A cruel, vivid replay of a life I thought I'd left behind. I stand alone, a ghost in white silk and lace, in the cavernous, cold expanse of St. Michael's. The few guests who bothered to show up, mostly Marcus's distant relatives and business acquaintances, shift uncomfortably in their pews. Their whispers reach me in fragmented waves. Her own family? Such a shame. Where could they be? Their pity feels like tiny needles pricking my skin. I want to scream at them that this isn't new, that this is a rerun of the worst day of my previous life. Just like before, I think. The words a bitter taste in my mouth. My gaze drifts to the wilting roses on the altar. Their once vibrant blush now faded, their petals curling inwards. Their scent, heavy and cloying, fills the empty church, a funereal perfume. It was the same scent that clung to the air that day, years ago in another existence, after they'd done this the first time. I remember leaving the church then, humiliated and heartbroken, driving too fast, tears blurring my vision. The screech of tires, the sickening crunch of metal, then darkness. I died after that first betrayal, a broken heart and a broken body. And now, here I am again. Reborn with every memory of that past life intact, every sting of their casual cruelty, every lonely night, every dismissed achievement. And still, I chose to trust them. Hope, that treacherous little weed, had pushed through the cracks of my cynicism. I'd believed, truly believed, that this time would be different. That they loved me. That they'd show up. The heavy oak doors at the back of the cathedral creak open, and Marcus finally strides in, his tailored suit impeccable, his expression a practiced mask of contrition. He's late, an hour late to his own wedding. Arya, darling, I am so sorry. He begins, his voice smooth, but his eyes dart around, assessing the sparse crowd, the obvious absence of my family. Family obligations, you understand? Unexpected crisis. I don't say anything, I just look at him. His excuses are as flimsy as the cheap fabric of my sister's first gallery attempt. The one that had also, coincidentally, fallen on a significant day for me. My graduation, if I recall. The memory confronts me, sharp and unwelcome. I feel a tremor run through me, starting in my hands and spreading. He doesn't understand. He'll never understand. He's part of their world, a world where I am always secondary, always an afterthought, with a calmness that feels alien even to myself. A quiet power move born from a lifetime, 2 lifetimes of disappointment. I reach up and slowly, deliberately remove my engagement ring. The diamond, a gaudy thing he'd insisted on, glints coldly under the stained glass light. I walk towards the altar, my bare feet cold against the unforgiving marble. The train of my ridiculously expensive dress whispers behind me. I place the ring on the polished wood next to a wilting white rose, a sacrifice, or perhaps a severing. Arya, what are you doing? Marcus's voice is laced with confusion, a hint of annoyance creeping in. I don't answer. There's nothing left to say to him. This scene has played out. Its tragic conclusion is etched into my soul. I turn, my back to him, to the empty pews, to the life I was supposed to start today. I'm about to walk away, to leave this all behind me for the second and hopefully final time. Just as my hand reaches for the cold metal of the side door handle, another figure emerges from the shadows near the main entrance. A man. Tall, dressed in an impeccably tailored dark suit that screams quiet expense. He moves with a predatory grace, his presence filling the vast emptiness of the cathedral in a way Marcus never could. His eyes, sharp and intelligent, meet mine across the echoing space. I don't know him, but there's something in his gaze, a flicker of understanding perhaps, or something else entirely. He just watches me, a silent observer to my public humiliation. My heart thuds, a sudden heavy beat against my ribs. Who is he? And why do I feel like the entire world just tilted on its axis? The man glides towards me, his footsteps unnervingly silent on the marble. He stops a respectful distance away, but close enough that I can smell the faint, expensive scent of his cologne. Something woody and citrus, a stark contrast to the cloying sweetness of the wilting roses and the lingering church incense. Arya Chen, I presume? His voice is deep, resonant with an undercurrent of amusement. Or perhaps it's sympathy. It's hard to tell. I just nod, my throat too tight for words, my mind races. Who is this man? How does he know my name? Damien Cross. He introduces himself, a slight inclination of his head. The name sends a jolt through me. Damien Cross. The Damien Cross? Tech mogul, billionaire, reclusive genius. His face, rarely seen in public, is even more striking in person. Sharp cheekbones, a firm jaw, eyes that seem to see right through me. I witnessed your, unfortunate situation, he continues, his gaze flicking towards Marcus, who is now hovering awkwardly near the altar, looking utterly bewildered. A rather public humiliation, I'd say. There's no judgment in his tone, just a statement of fact. Yet the word humiliation stings. I feel a flush creep up my neck. I have a proposition for you, Damien Cross says, his eyes locking onto mine again. An unexpected solution, perhaps. I finally find my voice, though it comes out as a shaky whisper. A solution to what? To this. He gestures vaguely at the empty church, the discarded ring, my solitary figure in a wedding dress. To a life, it seems, where you are consistently undervalued. His perception is unsettlingly accurate. He speaks as if he knows me, knows my story. You don't know anything about me, I manage, a touch of defiance in my voice. A faint smile plays on his lips. Oh, I think I know more than you realize, Miss Chen. I've been aware of your family's particular brand of loyalty for some months now. My blood runs cold. He's been watching my family? Why? What do you want? I ask, my voice trembling slightly despite my efforts to remain composed. As it happens, he says, taking another step closer, the scent of his cologne now mingling more intensely with the incense. I find myself in need of a wife, a temporary arrangement, purely for business reasons. A merger that requires a certain familial presentation. He pauses, his eyes glinting. But my proposal is perhaps more complex than a simple business transaction. My mind struggles to process his words. A wife? Him? To me? Now? It's ludicrous. It's insane. You're serious? Perfectly, he confirms. The current circumstances, while unfortunate for you, present a rather unique opportunity for us both. You need an escape. I need a plausible story. We can provide that for each other, he adds, almost as an afterthought, and perhaps a measure of recompense for the treatment you've endured. Recompense. The word hangs in the air. This isn't just a random offer. There's a depth to this, a history I'm not privy to. The silk of my wedding dress feels suddenly constricting against my skin. Instead of immediately accepting or rejecting, a new instinct, a quiet power born of this second chance at life, takes over. I find myself asking, what are the terms, Mr. Cross? His smile widens fractionally. Astute. I appreciate a woman who negotiates. He outlines it briefly. A contract, a specific time frame, mutual benefits that go beyond just the merger. He mentions discretion, protection. He doesn't elaborate on the recompense, but it's there, an unspoken promise. The audacity of it all is breathtaking. Marry a stranger, a billionaire, on the day my life has shattered for the second time? Yet, what do I have to lose? Another lifetime of being the family doormat? The thought propels me. I'll need to think, I say, though a strange certainty is already solidifying within me. Of course, Damien says smoothly. You have exactly 1 hour. My private jet leaves then, with or without you. The tension in the air crackles, a palpable force. 1 hour to decide the course of my reborn life. As if on cue, my phone, tucked into a small satin bag I'd left on a pew, buzzes. I retrieve it, my hand shaking. A text message from Lily. Arya, so sorry about today. Things got crazy with the gallery. It's a huge success. You'll understand, right? Family first. We'll celebrate with you soon, promise. XOXO. Understand. The word is a bitter pill, the casual cruelty of it, the utter self-absorption. My fingers tighten around the phone, the urge to smash it nearly overwhelming. The screen buzzes again, Lily again, probably another platitude-filled excuse. I don't even look. I look up at Damian Cross, his expression unreadable but expectant. 1 hour, my escape, or my replay. The silence in the small vestry where I've retreated to make the call is a stark contrast to the imagined din of Lily's gallery opening. My fingers tremble as I dial Mom's number. It rings twice, then she picks up, her voice already loud, breathless, and overly cheerful. Arya, darling, is everything all right? We were just talking about you. The background noise is deafening, a cacophony of clinking glasses, laughter, and what sounds like a jazz trio. Celebrating. While I stand in a cold church, my wedding a wasteland. Mom, I begin, my voice tight. Why aren't you here? Why isn't anyone here? Oh, honey, don't be like that, she chirps, her tone instantly dismissive. Lily's opening, well, it's a triumph. You wouldn't believe the turnout. The curator from the Modern Art Museum is here. This is her moment, Arya. Her real achievement. Real achievement. As if my wedding, my commitment, my heart, is somehow less real, less significant. The words pierce through me, sharper than any shard of glass from the shattered flute. And my wedding? I ask, my voice dangerously low. What about my moment? Darling, it's just a ceremony, she says, the casualness of it a fresh slap in the face. A party. You and Marcus can have a lovely dinner later. But this is Lily's career. We had to support her. You understand family priorities. Priorities. Their priorities had never included me, not really, not when it mattered. And Dad? I press, a knot of dread tightening in my stomach. Oh, he's schmoozing with some potential investors for Lily. He's so proud. Then her voice drops conspiratorially. Actually, honey, speaking of finances, we had to, well, reallocate some funds. Your wedding fund, to be precise. Just a temporary loan, of course, to help Lily with the gallery setup. It was a bit more expensive than we anticipated, but look at the results. My breath catches. My wedding fund. The money my grandmother had left specifically for me for this day. They'd taken it. Used it for Lily. The betrayal is so profound, so complete, it almost stops my heart. You used my wedding fund for Lily's gallery? I managed to choke out. Don't be dramatic, Arya. It's all in the family. We'll pay it back. Eventually. Her tone is impatient now, like I'm a child throwing a tantrum over a broken toy. I hear Dad's booming laugh in the background, then Lily's voice, high and excited. Mom, tell Arya I said hi. And not to be too sensitive. It's not like Marcus is going anywhere, right? Too sensitive. That's their go-to insult when I dare to express any hurt, any disappointment. The sound of their oblivious joy, the clinking glasses, the triumphant music, it all funnels through the phone, a direct pipeline of their disregard into my ear. Mom, I say, my voice devoid of all emotion now, a chilling calm settling over me. Listen carefully. Honestly, Arya, your timing. She begins, clearly annoyed. We're trying to celebrate here. You need to learn about priorities, young lady. Family comes first, and right now, Lily's success is the family's priority. You should be happy for your sister instead of... I don't hear the rest. With a steady hand, a quiet power move that feels more definitive than any scream, I end the call. I hang up mid-sentence, mid-lecture. Let her talk to the dead air. I stare at the phone for a long moment. The family's true colors laid bare. Not just neglect this time. Active, blatant theft and a complete lack of remorse. A wave of nausea hits me. The heavy silk of the wedding dress feels like a shroud. I can't breathe in it anymore. I stumble towards the small adjoining bathroom, the one reserved for the clergy. My reflection in the cracked mirror is a pale, haunted stranger. With frantic, fumbling fingers, I begin to unfasten the dozens of tiny pearl buttons that run down the back of the gown. Each one that drops to the cold, tiled floor is a small, satisfying thud. A release. One by one, they hit the tiles, a soundtrack to my liberation. The bodice loosens, the heavy skirt pools around my ankles. I step out of it, leaving the expensive fabric in a heap on the floor, like a shed skin. I'm just reaching for the simple jeans and blouse I'd hastily thrown into my bag this morning. A just in case, a tiny seed of foresight I hadn't even realized I possessed, when there's a polite knock on the vestry door. Miss Chen? A man's voice, professional, deferential. Mr. Cross's car is here. You have 15 minutes. 15 minutes, the deadline, the escape. My heart hammers against my ribs. Damien Cross, a stranger, a billionaire. A proposition that sounds like something out of a twisted fairy tale. But then I think of my family, their laughter, their dismissal, their theft. And the choice becomes startlingly, terrifyingly clear. I emerge from the ancient stone church not as a bride, but as myself. Harriet Chen, dressed in simple dark jeans and a plain cream blouse, the ghost of wedding makeup still clinging to my lashes. In my hand, I clutch the ridiculously expensive wedding dress, now just a bundle of silk and lace, a symbol of a life I'm determined to leave behind. The cold marble of the church steps is unforgiving under my bare feet, a stark reminder of the opulence and emptiness I'm fleeing. A sleek black sedan, impossibly glossy, waits at the curb. Damien's driver, a stoic man in a crisp suit, opens the passenger door for me with a polite nod. He doesn't bat an eye at my disheveled state or the bundled gown. Clearly, he's seen stranger things in Damien Cross's world. The ride to the private airfield is a blur of city streets giving way to industrial outskirts. The driver, whose name is Arthur, I learn, is discreet but not unkind. He answers my hesitant questions about Damien Cross with carefully chosen words, painting a picture of a brilliant, demanding, but ultimately fair man. He speaks of Damien's vast tech empire, his philanthropic endeavors, his almost mythical ability to predict market shifts. He doesn't mention the need for a wife or the recompense. As we pull onto the tarmac, the sight of Damien's private jet takes my breath away. It's not just a plane, it's a statement, sleek, silver, powerful. The roar of its engines, even at idle, creates an urgency that matches the frantic thumping of my own heart. This is real. This is happening. Damien is waiting at the foot of the stairs, his expression unreadable in the harsh glare of the airfield lights. He watches me approach, his gaze intense. For a moment, standing before him, the wind whipping my hair around my face, the scent of jet fuel sharp in my nostrils, I feel a flicker of fear. This is a monumental leap into the unknown. Then he does something unexpected. He shows a sliver of vulnerability. My own family, he says, his voice low, almost lost in the thrum of the engines. Taught me early on that blood is not always thicker than water. Sometimes it's just bloodier. His words, a stark admission of his own betrayals, resonate deep within me. He understands, perhaps not the specifics of my pain, but the sting of being let down by those who should love you most. It's a small thing, but it settles some of my fear. Before I agree to anything, Mr. Cross, I say, my voice surprisingly steady, I insist on calling my own lawyer to review whatever contract you have in mind. This is my quiet power move, a reclamation of control in a situation where I have very little. A flicker of surprise, then respect in his eyes. Of course, Miss Chen, prudent. He gestures towards the plane. We have a satellite phone and a secure line on board. Your lawyer can fax any documents directly to us. Inside, the jet is the epitome of understated luxury. Cream leather, polished dark wood, soft lighting. It's a world away from the cold, empty church. Arthur, it turns out, is not just a driver but also a registered officiant. Damien produces a simple, elegant platinum band. From his watch, he explains, a spare he kept for travel. It's absurd. A wedding ceremony on a private jet with a band from a watch, officiated by a driver, witnessed by no one. Yet it feels more real, more honest, than the sham I almost walked into. The ceremony is brief, the words surprisingly traditional, yet stripped of all pretense. As Arthur pronounces us husband and wife, my phone, which I'd almost forgotten, begins to ring. Marcus. It rings again and again, his name flashing insistently on the screen. I silence it, a small, definitive gesture. He's part of the past I'm leaving on the tarmac. The jet engines whine, the vibration increasing through the soles of my borrowed slippers. Another thoughtful provision from Damien. We taxi, then accelerate, the G-force pressing me back into the plush leather seat. The plane lifts off, soaring into the darkening sky, leaving the city lights twinkling below like discarded jewels. And then I see it. As we bank, turning towards an unknown horizon, I glimpse a flash of movement on the ground below. A black car, sleek and familiar, racing towards the airfield, its headlights cutting through the gloom. Marcus? Or someone else sent by my family? It's too far to tell, but the message is clear. They know, or they will soon. The cool metal of the improvised wedding ring on my finger is a tangible link to this new, uncertain reality. I look at Damien. He's watching the receding lights, his expression thoughtful. What have I done? What life have I just stepped into? We land on a remote, jewel-toned island in the middle of an azure ocean. Damien's private estate is a masterpiece of modern architecture, all clean lines and vast expanses of glass, perched on a cliff overlooking a turquoise bay. The sound of waves crashing against the rocks below is a constant, soothing murmur, a world away from the frantic energy of the city we left behind. This, apparently, is our honeymoon destination. It's only on the second day, after a restless night in a guest suite the size of my old apartment, that Damien reveals the true scope of his business merger and the nature of the recompense he'd alluded to. We're sitting on a sprawling lanai, the warm ocean breeze carrying the scent of salt and exotic flowers. The ocean spray kisses my skin as he speaks, his voice calm, measured, but with an undeniable edge. The merger I mentioned, he begins, swirling a glass of iced tea, isn't just about acquiring a new tech company. It's about dismantling an old one, specifically Chen Global Enterprises. My heart stops. Chen Global, my father's company, the legacy he's so proud of, the one he's always prioritized over, well, over me. You're planning to take down my father's company? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Damien nods, his eyes never leaving mine. And their recompense I spoke of involves ensuring that those who have profited from its questionable practices are held accountable. He then lays it all out, a complex web of deceit and corruption that leaves me reeling. He explains that my father's longtime business partner, a man I've known my whole life as Uncle David, has been systematically embezzling funds from Chen Global for years. And the conduit for laundering much of that stolen money? My sister Lily's new art gallery. The gallery wasn't just a vanity project, Arya, Damien says gently, though his words are anything but. It was a front, a way to wash dirty money, to give it the veneer of legitimacy through inflated art sales and bogus transactions. I feel sick. Lily. My sister, so desperate for success, for our parents' approval. Was she a willing participant? Or just a pawn, blinded by ambition? The memory of her gleeful voice on the phone, boasting about her triumph, takes on a sinister new meaning. Damien continues, explaining that he'd been gathering evidence against Uncle David and Chen Global for months. His original motivation, he admits, was a personal vendetta against my father, stemming from a business deal years ago where my father had, in Damien's words, behaved dishonorably. He'd planned to expose the corruption, ruin my father, and then walk away. My interest in your family's dynamics began as a side effect of that investigation, he confesses. The more I learned about David's operations, the more I saw how they treated you. It was illuminating. I stare out at the endless expanse of ocean, the waves masking the turmoil inside me. My father, a criminal? My sister, complicit? It's a betrayal on a scale I can hardly comprehend. The texture of the cool ocean spray on my skin feels like a grounding force as I try to process the enormity of what he's telling me. All those years of feeling like an outsider, of being dismissed and undervalued. Was it all tied to this? Were they protecting their secrets, their illicit gains by keeping me marginalized? A new resolve hardens within me. If this is true, if they've built their lives on lies and theft, then they deserve whatever is coming to them. And Damien Cross, he's offering me a chance to be part of it, not as a victim, but as an agent of their downfall. My quiet power move comes not from anger, but from a cold, clear sense of justice. I want to help, I say, turning back to him. The salt air whips a strand of hair across my face. I can help you gather more evidence. I know things. I've seen things, heard things over the years. Things that didn't make sense then, but do now. I meet his gaze directly, but on my terms. I'm not just a pawn in your revenge, Damien. A slow smile spreads across his face. A genuine smile this time. One that reaches his eyes. I wouldn't expect anything less, Arya. We work through the night, a strange, intense energy crackling between us. Damien's study is a high-tech command center, screens displaying complex financial data, encrypted communications. He shows me spreadsheets, offshore account details, surveillance photos. I, in turn, offer insights into my father's routines, his key personnel, Lily's sudden influx of wealthy patrons. The silk curtains in the study billow in the night breeze as we piece together the puzzle. An unexpected chemistry develops, born not of romance, but of shared purpose, of a mutual understanding of betrayal and a desire for truth. We are two solitary figures, wronged by our families, now united in a common cause. Just as dawn begins to paint the sky in hues of pink and gold, a sound shatters the tranquility of the island morning. The distinct thwack, thwack, thwack of helicopter blades growing closer. Damien's head snaps up, his eyes instantly alert. Security says we have an unscheduled arrival. We rush to the window, just in time to see a helicopter landing on the private helipad a short distance from the house. And out of it, looking disheveled and frantic, steps my sister. Lily. Somehow, she's tracked us down. The game, it seems, has just escalated. Lily stumbles out of the helicopter, her designer clothes rumpled, her usually perfect hair wild around her face. She looks nothing like the triumphant artist from the gallery opening. She looks hunted. The heavy, humid air of the tropical night seems to cling to her as she races towards the house, her eyes wide with panic. Damien and I meet her on the veranda. The vibrations from the helicopter blades still thrum in the air, a disruptive pulse cutting through the island's tranquility. Arya, thank God, she gasps, rushing towards me, her hands outstretched. I instinctively step back. You have to help me. You have to help us. Help you with what, Lily? I ask, my voice devoid of the warmth it once held for her. The business! Chen Global! It's collapsing! She cries, her voice cracking. The accounts are frozen. Investigators are everywhere. Dad's a mess. So, Damien's plan is already in motion, faster than I anticipated. And why should I help? I counter, my gaze unwavering. After everything? Lily's eyes dart to Damien, then back to me, a desperate plea in them. Please, Arya, you're married to him now. She gestures wildly at Damien. He's doing this. You have to convince him to stop his investigation. For the family. The family that used my wedding fund to finance your gallery, Lily? I ask, my voice dangerously soft. The family that didn't even bother to show up to my wedding? A flicker of guilt, or perhaps just fear, crosses her face. I know, that was bad, Arya, but this is different. This is serious. Our whole lives are falling apart. Then she delivers another blow, one that explains Marcus's convenient delays, his flimsy excuses on our wedding day. Marcus was involved too, Arya? She blurts out, tears streaming down her face now. He was helping Uncle David with some of the transfers. He said it was all above board, just creative accounting. He was supposed to make sure everything looked legitimate. Marcus, my fiancé, the man I almost married. In on it. The betrayal deepens, a sickening lurch in my stomach. His family obligations were clearly more sinister than I could have imagined. Lily tries a new tactic, her voice taking on a wheedling, manipulative tone. The one she always used when she wanted something. Mom and Dad. They're not well, Arya. The stress. Mom's blood pressure is through the roof. Dad hasn't slept in days. It's breaking them. You wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you? The emotional manipulation, so familiar, so transparent. But this time, it doesn't work. I feel nothing but a cold detachment. I pull out my phone, its screen glowing in the dim light of the veranda. My quiet power move. With a discreet tap, I start recording her. Tell me more, Lily, I say, my voice even. Tell me everything about these creative accounts. Tell me about Marcus's role. Desperate, she starts to babble, confessing details about shell corporations, falsified invoices, the pressure Uncle David and even Dad had put on Marcus. It's a torrent of incriminating information, all captured by my phone. The confrontation escalates when Damien, who has been listening silently, his arms crossed, finally speaks. Your family's troubles are of their own making, Miss Chen. His voice is like ice. They will face the consequences. Lily whirls on him, her fear momentarily replaced by fury. You can't do this. We'll be ruined. She lunges towards Damien's study, visible through the open French doors where the evidence is laid out. I need to destroy those files. Before she can take more than 2 steps, Damien's security personnel, materializing silently from the shadows of the lush garden, intercept her. They restrain her gently but firmly as she shrieks threats and accusations, her composure completely shattered. The leather of the office chairs inside the study gleams innocently, unaware of the drama unfolding. You'll pay for this, Arya! Lily screams, her face contorted with rage as she's escorted away, presumably to be held until local authorities can be contacted. You'll all pay. This isn't over. Marcus and Dad, they're on their way. They're flying here together. And they're bringing reinforcements. Reinforcements? My blood runs cold. What does that mean? Lawyers? Or something more? The fragile peace of the island paradise feels irrevocably broken. The final confrontation, it seems, is imminent. The reinforcements arrive not with a bang, but with the whir of another helicopter and the rustle of expensive legal documents. Marcus, looking pale and drawn, steps onto the helipad first, followed by my father, his face a mask of thunderous rage. Behind them, a stern-faced woman and 2 sharp-suited men, their legal team, no doubt. They stride into Damien's expansive living area, the scent of Damien's freshly brewed coffee mingling uncomfortably with the salty ocean air. My father doesn't waste time with pleasantries. Arya, he barks, his voice echoing in the high-ceilinged room. What is the meaning of this circus? You will stop this nonsense immediately and come to your senses, or so help me, I will disown you. The threat, once a source of profound fear, now feels hollow. Disown me, I repeat, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. Father, you disowned me years ago in 1,000 different ways. This is just making it official. Marcus steps forward, his eyes pleading, but with an undercurrent of something else, desperation. Arya, please. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. We can fix this. Your husband, he's being misled. Misled? I look at him, the man I almost pledged my life to, and feel nothing but contempt. Or were you misleading me, Marcus? All those late nights, those business trips? Was it all just about getting your hands on my trust fund? Because Lily seemed to think you were quite involved in Uncle David's creative accounting. His face pales further. He knows he's caught. He opens his mouth, then closes it, his gaze darting to my father. I never loved you, Arya, he finally spits out, the words like venom. Not really. You were convenient. Your money, your connections through Damien here, eventually. That's what I wanted. You were just too naive to see it. The confession, brutal as it is almost a relief. It confirms what a small, cynical part of me had always suspected. This is where my quiet power move comes into play, not with hysterics, but with cold, hard facts. Conveniently for me, Marcus, I say, my voice steady as I retrieve my phone, Lily was rather talkative last night. I play the recording of Lily's frantic confession, her voice filling the room, detailing the embezzlement, Marcus's involvement, the shell corporations. My father's face turns a mottled shade of purple. Marcus looks like he's about to be physically sick. Their lawyers exchange uneasy glances. Before they can recover, Damien's own legal team, who had been waiting discreetly, steps forward. They are a formidable presence, calm and collected as they begin to present their case, a comprehensive, meticulously documented account of Chen Global's fraudulent activities, of Uncle David's embezzlement, of the laundered money funneled through Lily's gallery. The rough texture of the legal documents they spread across the glass coffee table seems to absorb all the light in the room. My father, cornered and enraged, lunges towards me. You ungrateful brat, after everything we've done for you. Before he can reach me, Damien intervenes, stepping between us, a protective shield. He doesn't say a word, just fixes my father with a look so chilling, so full of quiet menace that my father actually recoils. This is my moment. The emotional climax I've been waiting for, not just in this life, but in the one before. All the years of hurt, of neglect, of being made to feel small and insignificant well up inside me. Done for me? I say, my voice trembling but clear. You mean stolen from me? Lied to me? Skipped my wedding twice for your precious Lily and her criminal enterprise? You talk about family, about loyalty, but you don't know the meaning of the words. You care about money, about appearances, about yourselves. You never cared about me. Each word is a release, a shedding of old skin, old hurts. As if on cue, the sound of sirens, faint at first, then growing louder, cuts through the tense silence. Local authorities, summoned by Damien, arrive to make the arrests. The family empire, built on a foundation of lies, crumbles before my eyes. The sight of my father, his face ashen, his bravado gone, being led away in handcuffs, is surreal. Marcus, defeated and broken, follows. Their lawyers look shell-shocked. The sound of the handcuffs clicking shut is a strangely satisfying punctuation mark to this chapter of my life. As an officer gently guides my father towards the door, he turns, his eyes blazing with a desperate, hateful light. He leans in close, his voice a harsh whisper. This isn't over, Arya. There's one more secret. One that will destroy you, you'll see. His words, a final parting shot, send a shiver of unease down my spine. What secret? What more could there possibly be? The storm of the arrests subsides, leaving behind an eerie calm on the island. Damien's team handles the legalities, the departure of the authorities, the stunned silence of my former family's legal counsel. I'm left in Damien's study, the scent of coffee now stale, the ocean outside a turbulent gray mirroring my emotions. My father's final whispered threat hangs heavy in the air. One more secret that will destroy you. It doesn't take long for that secret to detonate. Damien, his face etched with a gravity I haven't seen before, sits opposite me, a slim, leather-bound folder on the polished desk between us. Arya, he begins, his voice gentle. There's something else you need to know. Something about your lineage. He slides the folder across the desk. My hands tremble as I open it. Inside, nestled amongst crisp legal paper, are adoption documents. My adoption documents. My name, Arya Chen, is there, but the names of my birth parents are unfamiliar, foreign. A wave of dizziness washes over me. I was adopted. My entire life, the family I knew, the blood I thought I shared, it was all a lie. The Chen family hadn't just neglected me. They had systematically used my real inheritance, a substantial trust fund left by my biological parents, for years. Funneling it into Chen Global, into Lily's ventures, into their lavish lifestyle, all while making me feel like a burden, an afterthought. The pieces click into place with horrifying clarity. Their dismissiveness, their financial manipulations, it all makes a twisted kind of sense now. As I scan the documents, another name catches my eye. The law firm that handled the original arrangements. Cross and Associates. Damien's family law firm. I look up at him, my eyes wide with dawning comprehension. You knew, I whisper, the words catching in my throat. You knew I was adopted. He nods slowly, his gaze filled with a mixture of sorrow and something else. Regret? Yes, Arya, I've known for some time. My family's firm handled the adoption. It was complicated, shielded. My father was a different man then. He admits his initial investigation into Chen Global had uncovered this, deepening his interest in my father's dealings and, by extension, in me. He hadn't known how or when to tell me. The sound of the waves crashing against the rocks outside the window seems to echo the emotional turbulence inside me. My real parents. I learned their names, their story. They were entrepreneurs, brilliant and innovative, killed in a car accident when I was just a baby. The same car accident, I realized with a sickening lurch, that had claimed my life in my previous existence. The irony is a cruel, bitter twist of fate. My father's threat. This was the secret, the one he thought would destroy me. And for a moment, it feels like it might. The foundations of my identity, of everything I thought I knew, have been shattered. But then, something shifts within me. A quiet power, not of anger or revenge this time, but of acceptance, of forgiveness. This rebirth, this second chance, wasn't just about avoiding the betrayal of the Chens. It was about finding the truth, about finding my truth. My real family may be gone, but their legacy, their love, somehow, it feels present. Instead of dissolving into rage or despair, I choose to focus on the future Damien has unexpectedly offered me. I look at him, this complex, enigmatic man who has orchestrated the downfall of my false family, and, in doing so, has unearthed the secrets of my true one. Thank you, Damien, I say, my voice surprisingly steady, for showing me the truth, even though it hurts. A look of profound relief washes over his face. The romantic tension that had been simmering beneath the surface, a subtle undercurrent to our shared mission, now peaks. He reaches across the desk, his hand covering mine. The warmth of his touch is unexpected, grounding. Arya, he says, his voice husky. This arrangement, it started as business, but it's become something more for me. Much more. His confession hangs in the air, fragile and hopeful. Before I can respond, before I can even process the depth of my own burgeoning feelings for him, there's a knock on the study door. Arthur, Damien's driver-efficient confidant, enters, holding another set of official-looking documents. Mr. Cross, Mrs. Cross, he says, a rare smile touching his lips. These just arrived from your lawyers in the city. They require your immediate attention. It seems they could change everything about your marriage. Another secret? Another revelation? My heart pounds. What now? The documents Arthur delivers are not another bombshell of betrayal, but a startling, liberating truth. They are inheritance papers, meticulously preserved and managed for decades, from my biological parents' estate. The trust fund the Chens had plundered was only a fraction of it. My real parents, it turns out, were not just innovative entrepreneurs. They were extraordinarily wealthy. Far wealthier than I, or even Damien, had ever imagined. Suddenly, our marriage, conceived in desperation and strategy, is truly equal. Not in terms of assets, perhaps. Damien's empire is vast, but in the sense that I am not beholden to him, not a charity case he rescued. I am a woman of independent means, a partner in my own right. The knowledge settles within me, a quiet confidence I've never felt before. Well, Damien says, a slow, appreciative smile spreading across his face as he looks from the documents to me. It seems my wife is even more remarkable than I initially surmised. The next few weeks are a whirlwind of legalities, of untangling the Chen's corrupt dealings, and of Damien and I navigating this new, unexpected landscape of our relationship. The pretense of a purely business arrangement fades, replaced by something genuine, something real. We decide to renew our vows, properly this time. Not in a cold, empty church or on a speeding jet, but on the pristine white sand of Damien's private beach, under a canopy of stars, surrounded by the few people who have come to mean something to us. Damien's closest business associates, who have become more like family to him over the years, fly in. Arthur, of course, officiates again, his quiet dignity lending a surprising solemnity to the occasion. The texture of the fine sand between my toes as I walk towards Damien, the warm caress of the tropical breeze, the soft glow of lanterns. It's everything my first wedding wasn't. Real, intimate, joyful. Life settles into a new rhythm. I work with Damien, not just on dismantling the remnants of Chen Global's fraudulent empire, but on his legitimate businesses, discovering a surprising aptitude for strategy and negotiation. With a portion of my newfound inheritance, I start a foundation dedicated to helping other adopted children uncover their identities and access resources, a mission born from my own painful journey. My quiet power, move towards my former family, is not one of vengeance, but of detached finality. Through lawyers, I offer them a chance at redemption, a path to make amends, to seek forgiveness, to, perhaps one day, rebuild some semblance of a relationship, albeit on entirely new terms. They reject it outright, still mired in their arrogance and denial. It's their loss. I close that chapter of my life, not with bitterness, but with a serene sense of closure. 6 months pass. The news from the outside world trickles in. Lily's gallery, without the illicit funds to prop it up, fails spectacularly. Marcus, along with Uncle David and my father, faces a battery of fraud charges, their trials lengthy and humiliating. Their world has crumbled, as it deserved to. One evening, Damien and I are on our terrace, watching the sunset paint the sky in fiery hues of orange and purple. A bottle of champagne, a real celebration this time, sits between us. He turns to me, his eyes soft in the fading light, and takes my hand. "Arya," he says, his voice full of an emotion that makes my heart ache in the best possible way. "I never imagined this." "Me neither," I whisper. And then he kisses me. Our first real kiss. Not a kiss of convenience, or strategy, or even shared purpose. A kiss of love, deep and true, tasting of champagne and salty air, and the promise of a future I never dared to dream of. The warmth of the sunset on my skin pales in comparison to the warmth spreading through me. Later that night, as I lie in his arms, listening to the gentle rhythm of his breathing, a new, astonishing realization dawns. A tiny, fluttering sensation deep within me, a secret joy I hug close. I'm pregnant. I'm carrying Damien's child. Our child. A new life, a new beginning, born from the ashes of two broken paths. But a flicker of apprehension accompanies the joy. How do I tell him? After everything we've been through, after the whirlwind of our marriage, is he ready for this? Is I ready? The man who needed a wife for a business merger? What will he think of becoming a father? The secret of my pregnancy is a warm, vibrant ember I nurture for a few days, planning how to tell Damien. I want it to be perfect, a moment as real and meaningful as the love that has unexpectedly blossomed between us. He's been so focused on dismantling the old, on building our new present. I wonder if he's even considered a future that includes tiny shoes and lullabies. I arrange a surprise dinner on our private beach, the same stretch of pristine sand where we renewed our vows. The sound of gentle waves provides a soothing soundtrack as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in breathtaking colors. Lanterns cast a soft golden glow, and the scent of jasmine from the villa's gardens mingles with the fresh ocean air. Damien is, as always, impeccably dressed, but his eyes, when they meet mine across the candlelit table, are filled with a tenderness that still makes my breath catch. "This is beautiful, Arya," he says, his voice a low rumble. "What's the occasion?" I take a deep breath. "Us," I say softly. "Our journey. And perhaps the next chapter." Before I can elaborate, before I can launch into the carefully rehearsed speech I'd prepared, he smiles, a knowing, almost boyish grin that transforms his usually serious features. "I've been hoping you'd say something like that," he murmurs, reaching for my hand. "Because if the next chapter involves what I suspect it does, you should know that the East Wing has already been baby-proofed, and I may have spent an inordinate amount of time researching organic crib mattresses." My jaw drops. "You knew." He chuckles, a warm, rich sound that blends with the lapping waves. "Arya, my love, I notice everything about you. The subtle glow, the way you've been avoiding your favorite champagne, the new softness in your eyes. Besides," he adds, his thumb gently caressing my knuckles, "Arthur may have let slip that you requested prenatal vitamins be added to the pantry stock." Our conversation flows then, as naturally as the tide, moving seamlessly from business partners who respected each other, to lovers who cherished each other, to expectant parents, giddy with anticipation. He speaks of his own solitary childhood, his longing for a real family, for the laughter and chaos and unconditional love he never had. He confesses he's been hoping for children with me almost from the moment he realized his feelings went far beyond our initial contract. Later, as we walk along the water's edge, the stars brilliant in the inky sky, I voice another thought, another hope that has taken root in my heart. My final quiet power move, born not of strategy or defense, but of pure, expansive love. "Damien," I say, "when the time is right, I was thinking, perhaps we could expand our family through adoption too. There are so many children out there who need a chance, a loving home. Like I did." He He stops, turns to me, his eyes shining in the moonlight. He doesn't need to say anything. The answer is in his kiss, deep and affirming. Flash forward. Our son Leo laughs, a joyous, gurgling sound as Damien swings him high above his head. We're celebrating his first birthday surrounded by our chosen family. Damien's loyal associates, Arthur and his wife, the staff of the foundation I established, all people who genuinely care for us, for Leo. The scent of jasmine and ocean air is ever present, now mingled with the sweet aroma of birthday cake. The Chens, my former family, have made tentative, awkward attempts at reconciliation over the past year, usually timed around holidays or news of my philanthropic successes. Their letters are filled with stilted apologies and not-so-subtle hints about their diminished circumstances. I maintain firm, polite boundaries. Forgiveness is one thing, allowing their toxicity back into my life, into Leo's life, is another entirely. They made their choices. I've made mine. As I watch Damien chase a squealing Leo across the lawn, my heart swells with a profound sense of gratitude. This second chance at life, born from a repeated betrayal, has led me down a path I could never have envisioned. It has brought me pain, yes, but also truth, healing, and a love so deep and real, it feels like the very anchor of my soul. The story ends not with a grand pronouncement, but with a quiet, perfect moment. Weeks later, on that same stretch of beach where we renewed our vows, where we dreamt of our future, I'm teaching Leo to walk. His tiny hand is clasped firmly in mine, his chubby legs wobbly but determined. Damien is beside us, his arm around my waist, his eyes filled with an expression of pure, unadulterated joy. The sun is setting, casting a golden glow over the sand, the waves whispering secrets to the shore. Leo takes a hesitant step, then another, his face breaking into a triumphant, toothless grin. And in that moment, watching my husband and my child on this island that has become our sanctuary, I know, this is forever, this is real, this is home.